Oh, Potter's Journal. I have been busy with the farm work. Haven't been able to get into the studio. It is the height of rhododendron season here at the nursery. Did you see that bee? I found a clip, since I can't get into the studio, in my Potter's Journal archives. Can you tell what it is? Okay, little olive plates, toothpicks in the center, maybe chunks of cheese, shrimp cocktail. Okay, this was when winter 2020, when we were thinking about getting out and socializing, gathering in groups. Hopefully that's going to happen again soon. Before I show how to make them, first we will look at how to decorate them. That's the fun part. That's what everybody likes to see. Okay, let's see what happened in the studio. 2 winters back. Hey, how about this? A brand new brush. I've got to learn not to leave them in the slip, but I never know when I'm not finished and when I'm not coming back. Okay, I have learned to do most of these blue because those are the ones that sell, but I will do a handful with my green celadon that shows the white slip through it nicely. Okay. Can I do that on the center? You know what? I think with the white, we don't need it both places. With the blue, it's not quite as much a contrast. I'll maybe try it both ways. We'll do that on the next and see which we like better. How about some alternate uses? How about if we did it as a tabletop fountain in different sizes? Imagine that. With the water, if we figure out the mechanics, flowing, fountaining up and dripping down. Okay, and which reminds me, since we're thinking gardening right now, remember my garden sculpture series with the fish and the turtles last summer? I will try to do a garden sculpture series again. Okay, maybe this year we'll do faux wood, but first, let's see how those olive oil fountain plates were made. This is 1 1/8 pounds for making little garlic plates, or olive plates. I am centering this low and wide, pushing down on this hand with the thumb there in the middle. Okay, yeah, olive plates with a little bowl or cup in the center. So first we will open up the center. And I am doing a lot of checking on the bottom because we're throwing a pot inside a pot and I'm having trouble judging the thickness, whereas I did some mugs recently and really didn't check them much at all. Okay, so I want this inner wall to come up about 3 times as high as it is. So I am going to open the clay up again and leave this 3 times as thick as I want it. So when I bring it up, it should supply me with just the right amount of clay there. As I said, checking this again and again, because with the pot in the pot throwing here, I'm having trouble judging just how thick the bottom is. This is, I guess, similar to a candle holder as well. Like a miniature chip and dip plate. But little stuff is harder to make than the bigger stuff. Sometimes. Okay. And we need to bring up the wall on this little pot
inside of a pot. I thought this was clay right out of the bag. I'm sensing that maybe this was the last of a little bit of reclaimed clay I had too, because I'm sensing something in it. Okay, and that one might be taller than I want it to be. For the prongs, the wooden stick, toothpicks, they might just barely stick out over the top. Okay, I will bring that down by widening it a bit. So that might, okay, improve the height. I've been trying to make these look like a pot. Set inside of the pot. I think a lot of the commercial ones I've seen actually were a pot that came out of a separate mold and then was just glaze welded. You know, the bottom piece glazed and then the little pot glazed and set on top of it, not necessarily in the center, but anywhere. Okay, and getting the water out of the inside. And then I've been putting the wavy texture now, since the inner part is finished, the wavy to catch the glazes. I've done it with the needle, and it comes out cleaner and more even, but it has a machine-like look to it. So by using the finger, it doesn't come out as clean and as neat and as even, but has a more natural look to it than with the needle. Okay, and a lip, or a little bit of one, on top of that little pot inside of the pot. Okay, and now bringing this out and making sure that we've got the bottom compacted. Since we've got all those little angles, I might be going overboard with the cautions there, but I haven't any problems, so maybe that's why. And then I really can't get my hand underneath there to bring up the wall, so I am just pushing against the rib at the angle that I want it. And this one, because the center pot is a little bit bigger, I think the bowl is a little bit smaller. So yeah, this could be little hors d'oeuvre plates for olives or for cheese or whatever you might want to stab with a little toothpick. Okay, and round off the edge. And then I am going down so that these don't need to be trimmed, and just taking the slightest little bit out from the bottom so that it can be cut off with a wire and doesn't need trimmed. Of course, if you can get more for pots where you're at, take them off, trim them, and put even more time into them. Okay. And then, okay, the wavy pattern is also going in the side of the bowl, in addition to a little pot inside a pot. Okay. And there we go. Okay, little hors d'oeuvre plates. Okay, let's put them to the test. Let's see.
if these things work, I got the idea for making them from a potter in the UK, from Leicestershire. Let's see if he remembers making them himself. And if he leaves a comment, I don't quite understand olives. I think he did. I'm more for the chip and dip plates. And next part of the clip, I'll show you how we get these off the wheel.
To get these off the wheel, I have been throwing these on a bat, but I'm only making a dozen. If I was making more than that, I'd have to lift them off. So by just getting your hands underneath there and then sliding around the edge of it and pulling towards you until it gives a little slide and lifts off. Okay, they can be lifted right off the wheel.
So it is nice being back to doing shows again after building inventory for a full year, but already I am nearly out of things glazed blue. If only they'd go for some other color so we didn't have to do a stacked fountain with it. And you know, this has been one of my successes. If you go back and check out my video making them, I didn't know what size they were supposed to be, so I made multiple sizes. And that's proved a success because people are drawn into deciding what size is right for them. Another trick, potter's tip here, don't glaze them all when you do a production run. That way you can, you know, glaze the most popular color later. Okay, we will show how he's finished up, and then we'll close out this clip.
Okay, so I am pulling these off the bat, and I'm told maybe I need a heavier wire, that sometimes there's a little bit that sticks from below the cut. So I'll be anxious to get a thicker Simon Leach wire and see if that does the magic. And then there's a little bit on some of these that I didn't get with the stick. It's a big angle to get underneath, so I've been going around with the rib and getting the side, and then a clean bevel on the bottom, and then with a wet sponge, okay, not going over this too much, but just around once, although that was twice, to get it a little bit moist, and then to clean off with the thumb, which is, you know, if you brought anything rough up with the sponge, we're pushing it in, but we didn't overwork it with the sponge. Okay, and I'd like to usually dry things upside down, but I can't because of that, so we're going to put a plastic over this loosely and dry them out like this.
How many of these things will I have to eat? Oh. To convince people to buy them. I like them on fish, broiled, pizza, in salads. Oh, but just plain like this, you know what? Free samples. The next show, I will give out free samples. Okay. Okay, stop back next week, maybe at the show, for free samples. Okay, all of that, and can you believe I'm growing an olive tree? And it's got blossoms.